Welcome everyone to the Friday Live Factory for April, and today we have Yahya with us. We will provide an overview of the current state of Iraq's AI ecosystem today, where we will explore the potential benefits of AI for businesses and organizations in Iraq, as well as the potential impact on the country's economic growth and development. We will also shed some light on OVANYA, the first company in Iraqi-Kurdistan region that provides AI and data science related solutions. Yahya, who is our guest for today, is a skilled data scientist who has co-founded OVANYA. He has a strong background in computer vision and data analytics. He is credited with creating and training the first Kurdish OCR system for the Kurdish Arabic script. Beyond this technical expertise, Yahya is also passionate about public relations and digital societies and is interested in exploring the intersection of data science and society. Welcome, Yahya. It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a really pleasure, my pleasure, and I really appreciate this opportunity to be live on Iraqi innovators. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure, honestly. So, to begin with, tell us a little bit about AI. So, what is AI, and how would you define AI?
AI can be defined in many different ways, but in general, it's as is known, it's artificial intelligence. So anything that's kind of intelligence, and it's created artificially, not by nature or anything. We create it through coding, programming, or anything. It's called AI. So it's a program, a piece of program or a software that can replicate or imitate human behavior or our thinking, or can solve problems that we think, for example, only we human beings can solve, for example. That's in general what AI is. But when you go into details, it can be very specific sometimes, some for even tasks that we humans can't do, for example, and AI can be better than us. And sometimes it's not the way that we think, for example, how we think, it's not this the exact way that AI, for example, thinks and come up with logical operations. It can
All
be
right.
a short definition.
Yeah. Thank you so much for educating the audience and myself about it, because I am here as a student, like all of us, to learn more about AI. So thanks for sharing that.
You can ask specific questions and ask for details if you think, for example, some terms are not.
Yes, of course. I will very much drill you and get all
Okay.
the information and knowledge out, because I am here to learn and I want the audience also to learn from you. Uh, the next question that I have is about OVANYA. So, what is OVANYA? How did the idea of starting an AI solutions company come about for you?
OVANYA is an AI and data science service provider company.
Yeah.
It's the first company, at least in Iraqi Kurdistan, to provide AI and data science services.
Yeah.
We provide services in many different fields in AI. Like we have computer vision, we have natural language processing, we have predictive models and recommendation systems, analytical tools.
Yeah.
Why all of these and not one specific field in AI? Because in general, when you go international and globally look at some companies and startups in AI, some of them or almost all of them are specific to one field. Like, for example, there's a company that only works in computer vision solutions. But why we decided to have all, or at least to try to cover all the fields, because of the limited market we have here in Iraq, or the gap that we see here in Iraq. For example, nobody is doing any of it. So why not do all of it and to cover the market in a way? OVANYA is a new startup or a new company, a small company so far. It was founded in 2021, so it's been a year and a half so far. But I see great progress so far. Even people and my friends, our colleagues, partners in other companies always told us, why OVANYA? There is no future for it in Iraq, at least right now. Nobody understands AI, how you're going to sell AI. They're
Yeah.
not even understanding it, how you'll be able to sell it. And I was really thinking about the future ahead of us, and I know it's inevitable. It will come to all of us.
Mm.
So the reason we started Ovania, it came from a necessity to the society, to the business community in general. Uh,
Okay.
and if you want to go back and see exactly how did Ovania start, it all started with, of course, personally, it was AI and machine learning was a dream to me all since my childhood. I learned programming since I was 13 years old.
Okay.
I always wanted to build a simulation like the Matrix movie, if you have seen it.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to create a new world that every people, or I don't know, the nature works on its own,
Right.
organize itself. It was just a dream.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do that, unfortunately, not in my lifetime. But AI was something that is possible, and it's very useful to do also. Like, not only a passion, it's a necessity and something very essential to our society and business. It all started with uh, a product that I was working on back then when I was a student in university.
Right.
I tried to build the first Kurdish OCR.
Okay.
So it was back then, it was only the product, only the software. I tried to train it for Kurdish language.
Yeah.
And in the process of trying to sell it and find customers for it, I saw different clients and companies and even government and some encyclopedias, and they all wanted it. But
Right.
some of them didn't want only the OCR. They were curious about other services, like more advanced or in other fields, or for example, for security, for business, for healthcare, and many other services. They always asked, for example, can I do this? Can I do that? And some of them even offered us to, for example, work for them. To One of them called me and asked if I can, for example, work open a new department in his company for AI. Some other guys
Right.
mentioned a partnership for a new project. All of these happened, and I realized the potential that is there for AI companies. And I said, why
Mm.
don't I open my own? Why don't I start my own business and
Yeah.
cover all these needs at once?
Yeah.
So that's how Ovanya was born.
Okay. Um, yeah, that's an interesting story, and it's also good that you've been passionate about it since you were 13. But just to educate the audience, can you tell them about what OCR is?
OCR is short for Optical Character Recognition. It's a software that turns images of text and documents to
Yeah.
actual text, digital text. Like,
Right.
instead of going to type it, you
Mm.
can just scan the photo and the document, and it will be written, or you will have the Word version, a PDF, or Excel sheet, or anything.
And you developed the Kurdish OCR.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. The next question that I have is more of like the current state of Iraq's AI ecosystem compared to the other countries in the region. What is it like, in your opinion, and how much you have been in the industry? What do you think about it?
Iraq's AI ecosystem is there are fireworks. Sorry. Iraq is in its early stage of AI development, or in a way, I can't say it's in its early stages of development, AI development,
Right.
because using AI is something and developing it is something else. for each society or a country or a business to be a AI developing country,
Yeah.
uh, must start with using AI, know how to use it, and find the necessity to use AI. Even for using it, Iraq is not yet, that advanced or that ahead, for example, to use AI in general. As a society, we are not data driven yet. We
Mm.
don't depend on data in general. Like, for
Yeah.
example, you see many businesses, they just do whatever they want that comes to their heads and decide on their market, their marketing strategies, their
Yeah.
business planning, and everything. They don't rely on data. That's
Exactly.
something that is cultural. It should be changed,
Mm.
and through education and marketing and everything. Uh, but it's starting, at least. It's starting to be an AI user or an AI user friendly society yet. And with using it comes the need. And with need comes the development stage. In Middle East in general, I think maybe Iraq is behind all of them. Maybe I don't know specifically about some other countries, but for example, comparing it to Turkey, to Saudi Arabia, to UAE, and other countries, for example, Turkey has some national, very powerful national and international companies that are completely AI based. They have,
Yeah.
for example, one company, Good Vision, that operates internationally, even sells software, computer vision software to USA, to
Mm.
Europe, and so they are very advanced and in many cases. But it all starts with using it, knowing how to use it, and knowing the importance of data.
Yeah.
And I'm very optimistic about Iraq's future to be an AI ecosystem, very powerful and advanced AI ecosystem, because especially now, you can see how fast things are changing, especially
Mm.
after the wave of ChatGPT and OpenAI and
Yes.
generative models. Almost
Mm.
now, everybody knows what AI is.
Exactly.
Just a simple example, because Ruda was one of our clients now for AI. Um, there, for example, you see some need that a news, a media network or a TV
Mm.
thinks about AI and wants to integrate it for its audiences. And it's interesting that they come to you. You don't go there. You don't try to do anything, and they, because they need it and they see the potential. So I see so much potential and a bright future here in Iraq. That's why we are still persisting. In my opinion, is we need to adapt and find ways that might be more suitable for our current state uh, of AI users. Like, for example, what's growing in Iraq right now, in my opinion, is marketing, for example, one of them. It's real estate.
Mm.
Why don't we focus on real estate and marketing, for example, and integrate AI with them?
Mm.
For example, maybe using AI with healthcare. Healthcare, it's still not the time, not the right time, but with marketing, it might be a perfect match.
Yeah.
So, uh, with each step, or with each project, or with each field and sector that we start to integrate AI with it, it will spread to the other fields and sectors. Yeah.
This gets me to the next question about like, can you give us an example of how OVANYA has or solutions are being used in Iraq and Kurdistan, like anything that you have developed or that you worked on that you can share in the past year and a half.
Of course. The first product and or service that has been used from OVANYA was the OCR, of course.
Okay.
It was used in an encyclopedia to make the process of archiving and digitalizing faster.
Yeah.
And even now, we added another service to the simple OCR. It's called DLA, Document Layout Analysis.
Okay.
It's a service that doesn't only read the text, it also knows, for example, this is the title. this is a signature, this is the author name, this is the content, this is footer. So, or for example, to extract data from tables or Excel sheets. So you don't have to copy the text anymore, even after it's extracted. It knows where to paste it. For example, you can connect it to a database and only scan the files. It will know what data should be entered, for example, in the database. And this, for that, we are trying to, and it's been used and tested in the Ministry of Finance, or what's called here, Finance and Commerce, I guess.
Okay.
This is for the OCR. Another project that we have, which is really interesting and still, as I mentioned, Rudal, it's a big TV and media network. We first went to meet them for news recommendation system, and we were in a few meetings, and they saw the potential of AI and data science. And we came up with a writing assistant system. Okay. Like, for example, maybe all of us are familiar with Grammarly for English and other languages.
Yeah.
We are planning to have a Kurdish version of Grammarly, or in a near future, Arabic version of Grammarly.
Grammarly, okay.
Yeah. And it starts with the small things. Like the first thing that we did, and it's developed and it's in the validation process. And in a very near future, maybe within a month or two, it will be launched and everyone can use it. It's the spell checker. Right. Autocorrect, like instead of going to, for example, giving your text to a text editor or a news editor, you can simply open the website and copy your text or write your text and find all the mistakes, grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes and context mistakes, and fix them and use it, for example, or deploy it. This is another use case that is used in a TV.
Right.
And my favorite project so far has been with the marketing agency, Sky Marketing. They came to us last year, and they are a marketing agency and do advertising. They have OS screens, out-of-home advertisement screens in almost all of the malls in Erbil and in Kirkuk and Fallujah. And they wanted a solution to help their clients understand better understand the audience and understand the data, to be more data driven. They asked us if we can develop a solution that can count views in public. They have screens, digital screens. We will set up a camera, and it will look at the faces that go and walk by the screens, and it will count the viewers. It will say, this ad has been seen 10 times, this ad has been seen 100 times, for example, and do gender classification to know, for example, 80% of them were female, 20% of them were male, for example. Classify their age groups. For example, 10% of them were between 25 and 35, and 20% of them were older than that, and so on. It's very useful data for marketing and advertisement, because you always need feedback. For example, I paid this amount of money for marketing. How many people saw my ads? And it has never been done here in Iraq to connect out-of-home OOH advertisement with tracking, view counting. And we went live. We had a live demo, a real-time demo in Erbil's High-Techs event last year, and it was a great success. It was live for 4 days, so whoever went in front of that screen, they could see live data, like how many people are already seeing it, watching the screen, and how many have been watching it so far. It was something new, and the plan is for a near future to deploy all these cameras on the screens and have a complete service for that. This is another example. And the latest that we had so far was with a e-commerce application. It's a retail market, and we have two solutions for them. One of them is recommendation system. So, for example, when you purchase some items from that store, and your everyday life, uh, the machine, the AI, learns from your purchases, and it can recommend better items or similar items or related items for your future purchases. Like, for example, you will open your home page on the app, and it will directly know, right away know what you need, what you like, and it will recommend them. And so many other services that are already being used in Iraq and Kurdistan.
These are some really interesting projects, yeah, honestly, and definitely very much needed, especially the counting of viewers in the
Mhm.
marketing. So marketing really works, and future of marketing is nothing without AI, honestly. So that's very creative and interesting, and also the writing system you mentioned for Kurdish and Arabic would be such a game changer, because this local language is needed more than ever for the recognition in the world, and the stand as well. So yeah, that's some really good work, honestly.
Thank you.
Um, my next question is, so these projects that you are doing, or is there any government support that you have seen, or is there, how is the government supporting the growth of AI industry in Iraq and Kurdistan region?
Um, it's a really interesting question, and it's very important. And I've always wanted to talk about this.
Okay.
Uh, Government's role is very, very important to have a successful or at least professional AI ecosystem, and especially in Iran, because most of the things are centralized and somehow connected to government's decisions.
Right.
Uh, to have a AI ecosystem, an actual AI ecosystem, in my opinion, it has a direct effect. The government has a direct effect on this process, whether it's going to be small and undeveloped, or will be very big and very developed and advanced. And it's all based on, and it all depends on one decision that government has to make. It's whether to support or rely on companies or solutions, or on, for example, international uh, companies and or the global market. For example, uh, governments need face recognition systems. It's for security, for biometrics, for passport, for, I don't know, identity, for anything, for healthcare, for almost every field. You can use it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a very important project. It's a very important service, and it's very advanced.
Mm.
If government, for example, decides to use an international or a global, a company from, for example, China or Europe or America or Israel or wherever, if they decide to, for example, use face recognition from another country, not local, not an Iraqi company,
Mm.
the difference for them is not much, because they still will pay their money, and they will invest in it, and they will have a face recognition system in the
Right.
government.
Mm.
But what happens is that no company in Iraq will have the opportunity, and will have no company in Iraq will have the advantage of using or developing a face recognition, because there are so much technicality in it, so much development, so much experience, that a generation of Iraqis or companies will not benefit from.
Mm.
It's a project that needs investment, needs data, needs a foundation. You will have a country, an ecosystem that has no foundation for big projects, big services like face recognition, vehicle monitoring systems, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if, for example, you the government decides to support or rely on local companies,
Yeah.
what happens instead is, for example, let's say if OVANYA develops a face recognition, which we have, but it's not as advanced, for example, as a face recognition from China or America, for example. We have our own version. Maybe it's a little bit small. We use it, and it's enough for example, the project with the sky marketing for attendance systems and stuff like that. But it's not that big, for example, to recognize, for example, 5 million or 10 million people.
Right.
But if we, for example, get investment or to work on a face recognition completely,
Mm.
we will have so many byproducts of that service that even can be used for private sector with a
Yeah.
cheaper cost, with more accessibility, with more accuracy, that
Mm.
not only the government can benefit from, but also the private sectors. With
Absolutely.
the, for example, VMS, we have a project called Vehicle Monitoring System.
Mm.
It's a full package service that counts cars, classify cars. For example, if that car is, for example, I don't know, Toyota or it's a BMW, for example, it can read their car license plates and so many other features. It's an advanced project, an advanced service. Uh, but if, for example, the government doesn't support this service or doesn't use it, uh, it will die out. But if they use it and invest in it, later you can use the byproducts for different projects. Like imagine the same, you have seen OH ads, right? On the streets. There are billboards on the streets and the sideways and uh, that are for advertisement. For example, you can even use our car counting to
Mm.
also count number of cars that are passing through that advertisement. For example, it's an idea that not only you will be able to count people, you'll also be able to count cars that are passing through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was just an example, which will be available if the government supports such a service, for example.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, yeah, that's very crucial that government that decision knows how much affect this easy decision that whether to support local brands or local companies or just relying on international market will change the private sector, also the AI ecosystem and the business in general, because future will be about AI. And if you don't have this powerful foundation, you will not be very successful in it in a future. You will lose somehow the software battle. You will
Mm.
only depend on website, database, network. You will not have any chance to be a AI ecosystem if the government doesn't uh, rely on local brands.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, yeah. Government support is so crucial for you to even implement the at the scale and the level at which it can be implemented as well. But very interesting ideas, honestly. Few years ago, for marketing, like offline marketing, billboards, we could never measure the impact of them. But now through AI, we could definitely count the number of viewers, we can count the number of cars that have passed, and then accordingly we can measure the ROI for those
Exactly.
kind of investments as well. So it is definitely changing, and there are a lot of benefits. Now we've talked about a lot of good things that AI comes with. Now let's focus on what are the like what are the potential risks involved. What are some of the potential risks and challenges associated with increasing the use of AI in Iraq that you foresee?
Um, this question, for example, we were a society, like maybe we lived in Europe or China or a developed country,
Yeah.
in sense of AI especially. It, it's a really important question because everything is going towards AI and
Mm.
everything is relying on AI somehow and data. But for Iraq, it's because it's in the early stage. There
Mm.
is no risk, in my opinion, yet. That can have a very big impact on the society or the businesses. Or, for example, nobody will lose their job because of AI. At least in this 5 years, maybe, but
Mm.
not right now,
Mm.
because we are not using it actually
Mm.
to lose jobs.
Mm.
And so far, because most of our services, in general, that we have, are not in a way developed, or the need is not to develop them to, for example, have a smaller number of employees. Most of the times, the reason we want AI here, especially now, is that we want the process of, for example, the workflow to be easier, to be faster,
Mm.
for example, to be more accurate, or for the things that we can do. For example, hire someone to stand next to a screen and count people. Even if that guy, for example, does it, it will not be able to be very accurate. He will forget
Yeah.
some people, he will forget some faces, he will not be able to count them all, he can't make
Mm.
eye contact with 10 people at the same time, and so on.
Mm.
But an AI can do that, for example. So it's still
Mm.
a job that AI steals from us. It's something to add to the market, to the system, to the workflow. Uh,
Mm.
in that perspective, I don't think yet we will lose any jobs or will be in risk of uh, losing any jobs. But there are some social, or as I as you mentioned, I was interested in public relations and digital societies somehow. My
Yeah.
concern always and almost all the times is digital societies sometimes, because still in general, not only specified to Iraq, and
Yeah.
in general, globally,
Mm.
we are being manipulated by the AI services that, for example, Facebook uses, the algorithm recommendation systems use. These have some because algorithms don't see us as human beings. They see us as numbers and data. So
Mm.
whatever we see and whatever we do, actions that we make online, on social media, on the internet, on our apps, on our phones,
Mm.
all are recorded, and the feedbacks come from AI like we are playing with it. And we are not, we are just living our lives. And the
Yeah.
same can happen here even. Like, for example, with our ads, with our monitoring system that I mentioned, with the screens that we can count views and stuff. For
Mm.
example, in the near future, if we deploy that, we can have interactive ads or customized tailored ads. Like, for example, let's say clothes branding for women, for example, a clothing company that wants to target only women, not men. So what our
Mm.
screen will be able to do, if, for example, he sees a man, the screen will show an ad for men, and if some women are passing by, the screen will change the ad to the women clothing, for example, brand. Or, for
Mm.
example, if some kids and child are passing by, uh, the screen will be, for example, an ad for children.
Yeah.
Like that. This can sometimes be tricky and manipulative because you're
Mm.
targeting them despite their will.
Yeah.
These are my concerns sometimes. But in
Mm.
general, I don't think in Iraq, especially, we are at any stage that we have to worry about any of it.
Yeah. No, definitely. At the stage that Iraq is and the kind of AI adoption that has happened, that has not happened at all. There is no risk in the near future.
In the near,
But definitely, if we focus on like ideas or projects like you mentioned, which cannot be done by humans, like
yeah,
counting of viewers, it's not humanly possible. You need
exactly.
some kind of technology to implement that. So that is a progress. But yeah, we'll see how we work towards it, and it's good to know that you do worry about the digital society. um, And so this takes me to the next question, which is how does OVANYA approach the ethical consideration in the development and deployment of AI solutions?
That's very important because in my opinion, every AI company or data science company should be concerned about this.
Yeah,
Because when we develop an AI, it's not a human being. It doesn't have conscience. It doesn't
definitely.
have anything.
Yeah,
It's only numbers and dealing with whatever you feed the
yeah.
data. Even in the process of training, like when we started to train our first gender classification, in the
Mm,
beginning we didn't train it. We just brought an open source model just to play with it.
mm,
When I was developing it, and I only tested on myself and my colleagues, and sometimes maybe I brought my phone to, for example, show it a girl or a celebrity just to, for example, classify that gender and my gender,
yeah.
and it worked fine. But when
Mm,
we went to production, just for tests, when we collected samples from real world, our society and people,
yeah.
uh, the model was very biased, and it was really shocking and surprising because the model was trained on, for example, Western faces, white people mostly, uh, and misclassified most of the women here as male.
Mm, mm,
70% of the predictions were wrong, and it was really shocking, and it's not ethical even. It was really biased. So what we instead did, we collected local faces, Iraqi faces, Kurdish faces, I don't know, West Eastern faces, Arabs, Turks, Persians, um, every color. And we trained it again, we fine tuned it.
mm.
After the fine tuning, it didn't do anything wrong after that, or at least it was 99 point something based on our data set.
Yeah.
So things like these should be checked, should be to be tested, checked, and uh, redesigned and fine tuned again. So
Mm,
you have to worry about the impact and the effects. This was just an example that we had to do fine tuning because of the condition and the different cultures.
yeah.
But things that are like more into data analytics or data science part, for example, a recommendation system, is very tricky, and you have to think about it ethically. Like,
Right.
for example, just an example, if we get back to our interactive or customized ads, for
Mm,
example, if you collect or you have a model to detect if someone is fat or, for example, that person is fit, uh, it's already a critical
mm,
question
mm.
for people. Why do you want to know, for example, if someone is fat or fit? But maybe some companies want to, for example, do advertisement for their gym. For example, they have a gym and they want to advertise only to people who are fat. For example,
Mm,
this is something that you really have to be concerned about. Do I want to show someone when, for example, a fat guy goes in front of that screen and right away you pop up an ad for a gym? Will it be, for example, ethical to do that or not? Maybe. This is just a simple question. And many other things. For example, for recommendation systems. YouTube has a recommendation system, Netflix, Facebook, TikTok. The main aim of recommendation systems are to, for example, keep the users in the app.
mm.
In, so you increase the engagement rate.
Yeah.
Do I always want to do that, or how do I want to do that? Do I take risks? For example, I don't care about what the content is,
Mm,
just for the sake of keeping them in my app, or not. So
mm.
these are some ethical questions that we have to worry about and we have to consider when we develop AI. The model shouldn't be biased, the model should be checked, tested, and the algorithms also should be developed in a way and written in a way that you you predict the influence and the effect that they might have on even, for example, a category or, for example, a minority in that society or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my opinion, every company in AI, especially because I predict that we will, in a very near future, maybe within months or a year or two at the top, we will see many more companies here in Iraq and Kurdistan that are focusing on AI.
Mm, yeah.
So they should be really concerned and focus on this side of the business.
It's really good to know that you, being one of the leaders in this industry in Iraq, have this thinking of the ethical consideration, which I'm really glad to know, and it makes me feel at peace. And I'm sure our audience also would be thinking, oh, yes, we are in good hands, because AI is definitely like it's going to be the next internet.
Right.
So it's going to be something like it's going to be a necessity for a lot of people, uh,
Yes.
because of the way it is progressing, like you mentioned earlier about ChatGPT and
Exactly.
AI.
It is
uh,
replaced with it's replacing with Google and Bing and everything. Like you
yeah,
don't go anymore to Google to search something if you have a question. You go to
yeah,
ChatGPT.
yeah, it's inevitable now, that even if it's not there in Iraq yet, it will definitely be used by a lot of the youth and the generation, because without that they will not be able to survive. Like it's that kind of uh, a future that I see, honestly. um, so what are your future plans then for
Uh,
Ovanya? What are your plans for expansion, and how do you want to grow in the future of Iraq's AI ecosystem?
when we started Ovania, my strategy back then, the first thing that because it's very important to have a strategy, especially 1 year strategy at least.
Yeah.
When we started Ovania, and it was the first time for us at least to have
Y-
and
Yeah.
it was the first experience of being an AI company for me because,
Yeah.
for example, if it was a normal IT solution or software development company,
Yeah.
there are many companies that I can learn from or at
Mm,
least see around myself. But
yeah.
for AI, it's a little bit tricky. You can't always follow the steps that a normal software company does
Right.
to sell because almost all your clients know what a website is, and
Mm,
if they need it, they need it
mm,
and they know what a website is and when to use it and how to use it and what to have in the website and so many others. It's not new
yeah.
for database, so for networking, for I don't know many other aspects of software development. But for
Mm,
AI, because it was new for us, even we didn't know who to approach, how to do marketing for it, how to sell for it, and many other stuff. The first thing in my that I had problem with was the trust. For example, I will say I will develop a face recognition for you and nobody will trust you. How can you do that? You haven't done it yet. And so many other. So my first plan, my strategy for the first year was to prove myself, my company, that we are able to develop AI and advanced tools even and models. So
mm,
uh, it was for to build a powerful company profile. And I think we did a good job with that within the first year. We did some like the project with the sky marketing, with the Rudao,
yeah.
and with the face recognition, uh, with the car counting system, and many other services. With the OCR, and we kind of proved that we are able to build and train advanced models and use them in business and integrate it. My strategy for this year, even I think, although I think we are a little bit behind, we have to be faster than this, but we are still continuing what we have so far to be in general and try to cover all the fields in AI, like computer
Mm,
vision, natural language processing, and all others.
yeah.
But my focus right now is to integrate AI, or try at least to integrate AI completely with one field, one sector. That's, for example, a major sector like marketing or retail. If
Yeah.
I if I'm able to do that within 1 year to prove myself that we can, for example, one powerful field in Iraqi's business is completely connected to AI, or at least partially connected,
Yeah.
getting benefit from it, we will be able to spread it to other fields. Like maybe for the next year, we will connect it with real estate, with the healthcare, with our agriculture and other fields, with energy. Uh, right now, this year, my main focus is on marketing. We have different projects, we have different plans. Some of them we are keeping them secret right for now. We'll talk about them in a very near future. But one of them that I'm really excited about right now is to add a new level of advertisement in the marketing business. We call it interactive programmable ads. We are doing it with partnership with Sky Marketing, our previous client that we mentioned. It's a it's going to be a very exciting project, and even in a cultural level, it will change some of the way we look at advertisements. It will be entertaining and fun. Like with OH, all the ads, almost all of them, are mostly images or videos, if it's a digital screen, for example.
Right.
And they're not interactive. You only watch. If we watch, because most of the time they are boring and they are big brands that you don't want to look at them. They are becoming a part of the decorations. You don't see, for example, a big brand or a big name like Zain or Korak or Asyasel as marketing. You are looking at them like they are a part of the decorations there. But if we make interactive ads, people will it will change the way that people approach or look at ads from now on. Let me bring an example for one of our interactive ads. Uh, Imagine, for example, you're doing advertisement for a tea company or a tea brand. You go in front of that screen. It's a teapot and a vending machine there for tea. And instead of, for example, pushing a button or something like it's very traditional, it will point at you to do this by your hand, for example. And you will do this on the screen, the pot you are taking up the teapot and filling your tea. And it's all just by virtually. You are doing this,
Yeah.
you are it's pouring the tea for you, for example.
Yeah.
Have your tea. This is something fun that people, for example, in an event can enjoy or attend. Or, for example, for a camera or a mobile phone company, you can have an idea, for example, it will ask you to do this, and you will do this. The camera, for example, the guy in this advertisement or the screen will take out his phone and take a photo of you, and it will, for example, post it, for example, or it will be printed out. So it will be an advertisement that's interactive with the advertisement. Your actions or your motion or your movements are also you get a response from the ad. You don't anymore just look at them and listen or anything. You also participate in what the ad is. Uh, it will also bring attention to the other boring traditional ads that are there so far, because people will look out for different screens to see, for example, if this is an interactive ad or not. Uh, in my opinion, it will at least give a boost to OH advertisement for now. And there are other steps that we are keeping secret for now, but in the near future we will have them. It will make advertisement more accessible to almost all of the society and the business community we have. Right now, social media covers all the businesses, but our plan is to cover even OH advertisement to the small businesses and medium-sized businesses.
Well, I wish you all the best with your future plans. Honestly, it's really interesting to know what you're working towards, and I hope you achieve success in all the projects that you're doing. Just to end the session now with the last question that I have is for the uh, Iraqi entrepreneurs who are looking to innovate in the AI space. What insight or advice would you give um, according to your experience and the challenges you faced? Like one key advice that you would like to give them?
If it's tricky to have one key because I want to make sure that they get all the experience that we have so far. Uh, but one of the important ones, in my opinion, is to approach with whatever project that you have in AI. For example, even if it's a simple image classification project that you have
Yeah.
built on your computer within a day or two,
Yeah.
in my opinion, just try to approach all the clients or the potential clients that you think, even if they don't agree with what you have right now,
Mm.
they will come up with their projects or their ideas because they're because of the gap that we have with the AI developers or AI companies. There are many potentials, and even our companies, big companies, want AI. But one reason that they are not integrating AI with their workflow is because they find it's not possible now. They don't find the right developers to do it for them, or they think it will cost a lot, or they don't trust the companies. But if, for example, there is an entrepreneur or a developer or any business, a small business or a startup, that thinks they can do it, they can suggest different projects and they can discuss with the clients what their actual needs are. And I think there is a lot of chance and a lot of potential and possibilities to to get a project within AI. And another thing, in my opinion, is the same that we are trying to do right now, to focus on the major sectors here in Iraq, like energy or healthcare or agriculture or real estate, to try to find solutions for these instead of going trying to do what, for example, the West is doing. For
Mm.
you can't have exactly what USA is trying, for example, to do. You
Yeah.
can't use the same models as they're using because of
Yeah.
the cultural change or the needs, the market needs, and you are dealing with a society and the businesses that are not data driven. So
Yeah.
first, why not, for example, focus on this? How we can give them data, how we can give them feedbacks. Or one other thing that came up, for example, with us, it started with trying to do data collection for government with our car counting system. So
Right.
the team of traffic engineers can rely on the data from these cameras and, for example, make decisions about the city and the streets and the roads based on.
Yeah.
It started with this. We are trying to implement it soon. It'll be implemented even if it's not us. If
Mm.
they do it with a international company or they do it with a German company, but
Mm.
still important to rely on data.
Mm.
Project, which is smart lights. You have a very we have crowded cities. We have uh, crowded traffic lights. Average waiting time is sometimes 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know.
Mm.
With smart traffic lights, you will have less traffic. You'll have less crowded city, less maybe accidents, car accidents, and so even it will have an impact on the psychology of that person in the society because he's no more late, for example, for his work, or he's no more late in a traffic light or stuck in a traffic light. It will be smart traffic light. If that street, for example, is, or if that road is empty, it will be red. It
Yeah.
will, yeah. So projects can bring new projects, and an idea can uh, lead to another idea. In my opinion, that's very important to be open and dive in with any project that they have.
That was really, really good advice. Yeah, yeah. I would say definitely not getting very much influenced by the West. Focus on your own culture.
Exactly.
Like we at Iraqi Innovators also promote this so much that people should be proud of their culture, the
Exactly.
language, and embrace it and understand it more and more so that you can ace and cater to the people in a better way. And only then you will have a stand in the world. But if you try to like even writing books in Kurdish
Exactly.
or Arabic is something we promote through our digital copywriting program as well. So the language is so crucial, and the culture here is so rich. So
Exactly.
why not
Why not use it?
use that to your advantage rather than looking for inspiration outside when you have it in your
Exactly.
own
And even if you do this, you may have more chance to go in global market rather than doing and copying, for example, what already the global market has.
Yes,
Because the global market maybe doesn't have many features that Iraq can provide because
yes,
of the conditions that you have right now. But
yeah,
maybe if you solve some of your local problems, it will also solve some global problems that
yeah,
nobody has thought about.
yeah. And you will also be perceived as someone who is an expert for your own country
Exactly.
or your own region rather than you trying to satisfy the whole world and not
Right.
getting anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I really appreciate your time, Yaya.
Same here.
Thank you so much for the chat. We actually went overboard the time, but I could not stop knowing more about it, and I really don't want to end the session, but we have to.
Thank you.
Uh, we
I
have
was
got
really
a
excited
lot of
about this.
appreciation in the comments as well from the viewers saying they're proud of Ovanya, they're proud
Thank
of
you.
you, they think you have a very bright future, and well done, and keep up with the amazing work. So I would really, really wish you all the best with the work.
Thank you.
And it was really nice to talk to you, and how wonderful it is to know that there is such ability in Iraq, and you are so informed. So I look forward to uh, seeing your progress further.
Thank you so much. I was really excited about this live session for I guess it was a month. I was counting days to have this session with you guys. Thank you.
Oh, that's really, really. Thank you so much. I have been waiting as well because this is such an important topic, and within a year and a half, the way you have grown Ovania is incredible. So yeah, all the best again.
Great. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye
Have
bye.
a good night. Bye bye.